So maybe you're playing Subnautica Below Zero now and you're stuck trying to find one of the architect locations. You may have found a couple of them, or you may have found all but just one and it's driving you crazy. Regardless, in this video, I'm going to show you all of the architect base locations in Subnautica Below Zero. So first up, we have Sanctuary Zero, which is the first location, and once you enter into the Twisty Bridges biome area, you'll have a notification pop up for an SOS message in Morse code. You will be told that the origin of this message comes from a bit lower down. So you will need to dive down and look for the architect lights that are also blinking in the SOS pattern. Now, you probably want to at least have an O2 tank with you at this point, but otherwise you should be fine, as there are plenty of oxygen plants through the pathway to Sanctuary Zero. Just follow all the blinking lights until you reach Sanctuary Zero and then really kick off the story. Next up will be the Deep Lilypads cache. This base is in the Deep Lilypads area and is accessible at the same location where you find Omega Lab. While there are some oxygen plants in this area, they are spread out a bit, so I recommend having the sea truck with at least the Mark II depth module or a spare oxygen tank. If you know the path well, you can make it without too much worry, but if you knew the path well, then you'd probably be skipping this part of the video. Once you get into the Deep Lilypads area, you will see this rock formation in the middle. Simply line it up where the tallest rock is at the far end and then turn around to follow down this path. Just a short way in, you will see one of the architect lights signifying you are on the right track. Continue to follow this path downward and keep following the architect light stones. You will see a squid shark patrolling around, but if you just keep moving, he won't be an issue. Just keep following the architect lights, and at the end you will find the Deep Lilypads cache. Next up, Arctic Spires cache. To reach this location, you must first head to the Phi Robotics dock and extend the bridge. This will require you replacing a broken container of hydraulic fluid so the bridge can be used again. After the bridge is extended, you'll be heading into the Arctic Spires, so make sure you have a cold suit and a good method of transportation, either the Snow Fox or Prawn suit. There are 3 pathways you can take from the bridge, but the quickest route to this base is the rightmost path. Just walk on through until you pass over the frozen river. From here, there will be a path to the right where you find the terrain drops down. There will then be a lower path and an upper path, but I personally find the lower path easier to follow. Once you reach the end of this pathway, you will be in a large basin area filled with spires. Just turn and head to the right as you come out of the path. Keep going along this direction, avoiding ice worms until you find the architect power cable. Follow it until you reach the crevice where the severed end of the cable lies. At the end of this crevice path, you will find the Arctic Spires cache. Now, the Crystal Caves cache. This is arguably easier to reach than the Arctic Spires cache, but requires you to have decent depth protection on your sea truck. There are 2 different routes you can take to reach the Crystal Caves. You can go past Marguerite's base, which can be reached through the Lilypads or the Tree Spires, or you can go directly to the Crystal Caves by way of the Purple Vents biome through a simple dive down from where the Mercury 2 thruster section sits. This is my preferred route as it puts you closer to everything important in this biome. Make sure you have your sea truck equipped with the perimeter defense module, as you will be encountering shadow leviathans in here. Heading down from the Purple Vents, there are some terrain depressions that are shaped like fangs. Go past the 2 fangs and then through either of the holes at the end. From here, just stick close to the wall on your left. This will help minimize you crossing paths with a shadow leviathan, but is not a guarantee you won't see one. Just keep following along the wall to the left until the area opens up a bit and Alan pipes in about the crystals in the area. You should then be right by a very large formation of crystals. In the middle of this formation, you will find a tunnel that leads downward. Just follow this path until you spot the green force field of the Architect Crystal Caves cache. Next is the Fabricator Base, which is where things start to come together from the previous bases. This is actually very easy to reach when you're already sitting by the Crystal Caves cache, and you can access this one with the sea truck as long as you have the Depth Module Mark III. So going from the previous spot we were at for the Crystal Caves cache, you just head past it and continue to follow, sticking close to the wall on your left. After a short distance, you will enter into the red crystals area. Continue until you reach a large open area where you see 2 shadow leviathans patrolling. This is where you actually want to head straight down the middle between the 2 leviathans. You will then see there is a large red crystalline structure, and down at the lower section you will see the green glow of architect stuff. And finally, we have the Phase Gate facility, which is one of the easiest locations to reach as it is right near the starting point of the game and just past the Altera Outpost Zero base location. Go to Outpost Zero and then head past it along the pathway through the cliffs following the light sticks until you reach into the icy cave, and there's Phase Gate facility. Congratulations, you've now gone to all of the Architect base locations. Now these are different from the Architect artifact locations, which I will be covering in a future video. Now with some of these locations, there are more than one pathway to get where you need to go. However, I try to give you the simplest, quickest, easiest ones with some landmarks to help you find your way. Now, if you enjoyed the video, if you got something out of it, of course, hit that like button and leave a comment below. Let me know how this helped you, or if you've got a tip for somebody else trying to find one of these, leave it in a comment below.